Where did you come from? Where did you go? I have got a scaly sumo.
Why aren't you catching?
It's gonna rip off in 3, 2, 1.
Never works.
Well, it did last night.
It did last night. Well, we're down Linear on a Brasenose 2. Yeah, we came down last night. It was chucking it down when we got down here, to say the least. We're currently both set up in the beach swim, got the rods out, and yeah, so far we've been able to get 6 bites, 3 bites each, but we've only landed 3 carp. One of us landed 3 carp, the other lost 3 carp.
Cut-offs.
Cut-offs.
Cut-off.
Excuse.
I've had no sleep.
He's had no sleep, but it is looking good. They're starting to fizz. Currently they're fizzing like mad off the causeway bank. So I reckon Steve is due a bite any minute now. So we're going to carry on fishing. I'm just getting rods re-sorted from last night, fresh rigs. And then I will join you in 5 seconds when Steve is playing a carp. And we're back. 5 minutes later.
Bash, bash, bash. Little one-tainer on the middle rod.
You had a little bit of a nightmare getting it off the rests.
Yeah.
I should have been a good friend and helped him out, but can't be asked.
Well, it did look good for a bite, and I'm fishing in a lot shallower water than Finn. I reckon about 5 foot max. So we did think this might be a bit of a day bite. One showed out near the spot, very close, and yeah, it's not taken long before it's whizzed off. It doesn't feel like a big one, but we'll take it.
What's just happened? Oh, the voice break.
It's hook pulled, I think. No.
We could be about to see a very happy Steve here, or very angry and...
This one needs to go in the net, man, otherwise I'm going to lose my sugar today. It's kiting towards the weed beds. Still doing nice today. Mate, I don't normally lose fish. Cut-offs are just, well, something out of my control. One hook pull, which that was okay. I don't know what happened. Well, it's not okay, but there's one in the net now, and we can build on it. Keep me on it.
So what are you saying?
£30 too.
I'm saying 32.2.
Right, scales is 0.
I was correct.
Right, 32.
32.2.
But at least I got
bullseye.
At least I got the second bit right.
The 2.
Oh no, I said 1, didn't I? Or 2? I don't know. It might have been one or the other. £32, 2 ounces, and finally I've got one that's made it to the net. Got a little bit unlucky with a couple of cut-offs and a hook pull. So yeah, to finally get one in the net and it go 32.2. Yeah, I'm very happy with that actually. So yeah, I think we can get a few bites today on my spot. As I mentioned, it is a bit shallower. I'm going to get the rods in, fresh rigs, get them back out there, and I think it wouldn't be too long before we might have another one. Bash!
Good angling.
Good angling, son.
Well then, Finny boy. We've just had some food, which was 10 out of 10. Honey glazed sausages, I may add. Yeah, we were just sat there and I I was an idiot, I forgot to turn the bite alarm on, and then next minute, we've just heard this noise.
Well, we did just see two show, and you said, if I don't get a bite, then
I'm a
well,
I was gonna get bite cam up and running, but I thought I'd jinx, but I wouldn't get a bite if I started bite cam. And like I said, I forgot to turn on the bite alarm, so to be honest, bite cam would have been pretty useless. But yeah, wind is pushing in here. I think it's just gone 12 o'clock. Yeah, it feels good to be attached into one. To be fair, I'm quite surprised. I've just had a bite in the day. I was expecting it to be a nighttime spot. She's grating on something. I think I'm over Steve. Is this? Don't know what's going on, but yeah, we have a fish. Bosh! Gotcha! Oh yeah, didn't expect that. Little midday bite, fishing in the deep water. Sort of expected the shallow spot to do a bite, but yeah, we've just had some food, seen a couple of fish shore. 5 minutes later, we've got one. Well, we've just got that little one in the net. I put 3, well I say 3, I probably put about 6 spots up there, but only 3 landed on the spot. Yeah, read on the rod, and this time the middle rod is away. We've still got that little one in the net. Yeah, I really wasn't expecting this spot to be doing bites at this time of day. There must be a fair few fish out there. I'm starting to see them show a lot closer to this bank. When we arrived yesterday, there was a lot sort of on the other side, probably 30-40 yards out. Big carp season on B2. The wind is certainly blowing and the carp are on the feed. A manic little 10-15 minute feeding spell there. I seen one shore above the spot, then the rod ripped off. I didn't turn on the bite alarm. I got the rod back out, a few more spots over the area, and the middle rod is ripped away. No monsters, both for the future. Get them back, and hopefully it won't be too long till a 30-pounder graces the net. He's into another carp.
Go on, lad! Yeah! Mate, I was literally contemplating death.
It's only been about 2.5 hours since we had the last bite, but the weather has turned it, it's chucking it down.
I could feel the air pressure going through the floor.
Going through the floor?
Yeah, I could actually feel it going through the floor. And I was like, why has one of these rods not gone off? Until
now. Yeah, we're just sitting there, as you can see. As you probably can't see, Steve's bivvy is soaking wet. It has been chucking it down. There's been a lot of fish showing out to the right. But yeah, seeing a couple show longer about 2 minutes ago, and then Steve's middle rod ripped off. I had to say his name about 10 times. I think he thought he was daydreaming of a bite. But we have another one. Just making my old rod bend, boy. Steve uses sea fishing rods, so to make it bend, it has to be something bigger than 50 pounds.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I'm going home. Oh, it's not fair.
For this part of the video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different compared to what I normally do. Now, when me and Steve were down at Brasenose 2, it was absolute carnage. Every time we put a rod out there, 10, 15, 20 minutes later, one of them rods was ripping off. And there's been multiple fish already in this video, but we haven't shown you guys because it would just get boring if we kept showing fish after fish after fish. But you get the gist, it was carnage. And because it was so hectic, me and Steve didn't really have time to sit down and talk about the tactics and the bait that we're using on this session. So that is why you join me in the kitchen at the moment, and I'm going to run through the rig setup that I was using on this trip. In terms of the bait and how I was approaching the rest of the session, make sure to go check out Day Ticket Diaries on Brasenose 1. Is, to be honest, the tactics that I was using on that session and now They were very similar with just a few slight adjustments, but overall, go check out that as that will give you a better understanding on what me and Steve were doing on that session. Now, in terms of the rig that I was using on this session, I was using a simple D-rig. Now, there's a couple of different reasons why I decided to use the D-rig. Now, my favourite rig of all time has got to be a blowback rig. They're simple, you can fish a pop-up, a bottom bait, a wafter on them, they're just so versatile. However, despite them being simple to tie, it can take a little bit longer compared to a D-rig. Now, I did have rigs prepared for this session, but I went through them very quickly. As mentioned, me and Steve were catching a lot of fish, and I could have sat there in the bivvy one evening, tied up 20 more blowback rigs, and I'm sure if I used the blowback rigs, I would have caught fish. However, as mentioned, it does take a little bit of time to make sure that they're absolutely perfect. Now, with D-rig, as I'm about to show you, it's very simple. You're literally doing a knotless knot, doing a knot in the end, blobbing down a bit of a tag end, and that's it. So to get one of these D-rigs tied up, especially when you're catching fish, it's just so much quicker than tying a blowback, and that is the main reason why I decided to use this rig. So starting off with the hook length that I was using. On this trip in particular, I was using 15-pound flurry link. Now, to be honest, whenever I'm tying D-rigs, I'll always use either 15 or 20-pound flurry link. I just find it a nice material to use. If you use the 25-pound, I found it can be a little bit stiff compared to what you want in. However, 15, 20-pound, it's got that nice stiffness, so it's going to kick away and not tangle. But it's also, I'm not going to say supple enough, I'm going to say soft enough, just for the rig mechanics to work when the fish picks up the rig. Now, another hook length material that you might want to use is a heavy duty mono snag leader. Now, it might look a little bit robust, a little bit thick. This one here is 30 pounds, which is 0.5mm in diameter. It looks like something you'd use for shark fishing, but again, it's sort of similar to the 15-pound flurry link. I'd actually say that this mono snag leader is a little bit softer compared to the flurry link. So if you're fishing on a bottom where it's maybe a little bit silty and you really don't want that stiff element of fluorocarbon, this is certainly a hook length material that I'll be checking out. Once you've picked your hook length material, you then have to think about what hook choice you're going to be using. Now, me personally, I'd try and avoid hooks such as the Fang X or long shanks, because they're just not going to do the job that you want in the D-rig to do. You want to make sure that you're using a pattern of hook that's wide gape, and it's going to nail the fish when the fish picks up the rig. Now, the two pattern of hooks that I'd choose to fish on a D-rig is either a chod claw or the twister hooks. And I actually only need one more item of terminal tackle to tie this rig. Now, all I need out of this little box in here is a hook ring swivel. Now, this is where I'm going to be attaching the hook bait onto the D-rig. You could use a bait screw if you're using a boilie or a wafter. You could use a rig ring, or like I am here, I'm using a rig ring swivel. So they're the three terminal tackle items that you're going to need to tie this rig. As mentioned, it's such a simple rig to tie. Them three things there, it makes it so much easier to be able to go on a tackle shop, buy them three things, and be able to tie multiple rigs. With other rigs out there at the moment, you'll have to go buy X, Y, Z, you end up spending an absolute fortune. So as well as being super simple to tie, it's also really cost effective. Now all I'm going to do is get the flurry link, and I'm going to talk you through the process on how to tie a D-rig. The first important thing is, when you're cutting the length of hook link material, make sure that you cut a decent length. The last thing that you want to be doing is attaching the rig, tying the D, going to form the final knot in the end of the rig, and realising that you've made the rig way too short. So right there, I've probably got, well over a foot of fluorocarbon. My rig that I finish here is going to be nowhere near that length. But like I said, I just want that extra security. When I tie the rig up, I'm not going to be left short and have to repeat the full process. So I've got the fluorocarbon there. And the next part is attaching the chod claw hook. As mentioned, you can use a twister, a wide gate, you can use whatever pattern you want. The most important thing though is just making sure that it's a wide gape enough, so when the fish picks it up, they're going to get nailed. So I've got the rig there, pass it through the eye, leaving a decent tag end to form the D, which will be the next step. And then all I'm going to do here, using a knotless knot, is go up the shank of the hook. So all I've done there is I've whipped up just past the point of the hook. To be honest, you can go as far up or as low down up the shank of the hook as you want. I like to go around the point of the barb of the hook, just because it will allow you to create quite a decent D in a minute, which will give the hook bit a little bit extra movement. Right, so there we go. The hook is attached, literally a knotless knot, very simple to tie, and yet I've left a decent tag end on the end. It's really important that you leave a decent tag end, as this is going to be the next step on tying the D-rig. So I'm going to take the hook ring swivel. As mentioned, you can use a bait screw or rig ring. Put that on the tag end that you've just formed, and pass the end of the tag end back through the eye of the hook. And that right there has just formed the D section of the D-rig. Now, as you can see, there's a pretty lengthy bit of tag end there, so I'm just going to get the scissors, chop it down. I've left maybe just over a centimetre, 2 centimetres of tag end out the back of the eye, and all I'm going to do now is burn it down. It's important to take your time here, because one wrong move and you could actually damage the hook length material, and when you're playing a fish it might snap. So just burn that down about there. Just flatten it off with the side of the lighter, and there we go. So I formed the D there. Just give it a little tug with the scissors, and there we go. With that simple knotless knot and the lighter, the rig is pretty much complete. I've got the D on the section of the hook there. I've got my hook length material here, and the final thing to do is just tie a loop in the end of this so I can attach it onto the quick change swivel on the lead setup that I'm using. Now, as mentioned, when I took that flurry link, I took way more than I was ever going to need. And you never know, some people might choose to fish a rig that long, but me personally, I don't like to fish D-rigs that long. So I've got my tackle box here, probably about 12 inches from one end to the other, and that, about a centimetre past that, is the length that I'm going to be using. So all I'm going to do here is tie a figure of 8 loop knot in the end. Again, very simple. You can use whatever loop knot you want, or tie it directly onto a swivel. Pull it down. Always use a knot puller, don't use your teeth like I've just done there. Cut it down. Now, when I tie this loop, I always leave a little bit of a tag end, because you never know when you're playing fish, that knot might slip a little bit and the rig just falls apart and you lose the fish. You don't want to be doing that. So yeah, leaving a tag end there. Around here, I've left around ½ centimetre, which is a lot more than I'm ever going to need. But again, it's just for added extra security, but nothing is going to go wrong. And there we go, the simple D-rig, but I was using a Brasenose 2. Very simple to tie. All I'll do here is when I'm attaching it, I'll just add an anti-tangle sleeve over that loop or a bit of silicone, just to neaten the rig up a little bit and make sure that it doesn't fall off the quick change swivel when attaching it on the lead setup. So that's how I tie a D-rig. It's very simple. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen that rig before, but for people who might be just getting into fishing, that's how I go about choosing what hook length material and what hooks to use when tying a D-rig. But for now, we're going to jump back into the session. You're going to have to use your imagination a little bit here, because on this day, me and Steve were catching fairly consistently. However, just before dark, it kicked off big time, or it did for me anyway. Steve, bless him, he was struggling. I had to wipe a few of his tears away. He weren't good, but I was able to catch 6 fish. Steve was also able to catch 1, but we didn't really get that much on film, because me and Steve were addicted to fishing, and every time we got a fish in the net, we just wanted to get the rod back out, put more bait out, and by the time we'd done that, grabbed the camera, the other rod was ripping off, and it was just carnage. So we're going to jump back in the session now. Just after the carnage had sort of slowed up a little bit, and we were getting the fish out on the mat. And there we go, one of the larger fish from this evening's action. This one going just under 29 pounds. I've already put 2 fish back. I've got 2 more fish to get out, and to be honest, I think they're both 30 pounders. Steve's just landed one. That looks like a 30 pounder. I'm gonna have to put it down because I haven't eaten all day. I'm starving, I'm weak, but I'm loving life because we're catching carp.
That was a poor effort for the release.
I give it a 2 out of 10. Well, there we have it, the final fish from this evening's little flurry of activity. We've got 1 more fish down there, one that Steve landed about 10 minutes ago. This one is the biggest that but I was able to catch 30 pounds on the nose. To be honest, I did think it was going to go bigger, but I do not care. It's been a fantastic hours of fishing, and we've still got plenty of time to catch more.
Well, there it is, another 30 pound B2 fish, proper classic B2 fish, round, dumpy, mirror. But yeah, again, coming off that long range spot in the shallower water, and yeah, seems to be a bit of a bigger fish spot, and yeah, let's hopefully it stays that way. But yeah, Finn's definitely winning in terms of numbers, but
Stevie's got the size.
I don't mind if yeah, these bigger ones keep coming along. Bash! Nice little change it.
A cheeky comment.
Catch a comment.
Yeah.
It's a 20.
Give yourself a pat on the back.
Yeah, take one hand away. That sound.
37 pounds 10 ounces. And there we have it, another fish to kickstart the day. Last night it was a little bit quieter than expected again. We were able to have 4 or 5 bites, I think. We just put the other ones back through the night, but this one tanked off on first light. So it looks like hopefully it's going to be a similar day as to yesterday, but we can't complain at the action that we're getting on this session.
Couple of fresh spotties.
Couple of fresh spots. Well, we've just put that fish back, and as you can see down there, a rod is missing.
Middle rod's missing, and that's me.
And Steve's wiping me out. Yeah, you're under me. Bloody hell. $24.12. I don't really get a good look.
22 or 20, 22 and a half.
24.12. 24.12.
Is it actually?
Nah, it's 26.
Is it? Well, I've had a scaly turn up. Well, I don't think you class it as a scaly, but for B2, yeah, it's got some scales.
It's a nice one.
It's a nice one, yeah. 26 pounder, and yeah, made up. First one this morning after Finn's lost one, which we won't talk about. And yeah, he's currently fizzing up all over a Finn's spot. So yeah, I think after this one slipped back, we'll be seeing Finn with one. So yeah, we'll get this nice little 26 half tail scaly. Give me a half tail scaly.
Half tail scaly.
All right, let's slip this one. Well, go on. What are we saying? Well, what are we saying? We're saying not a lot, because not a lot is what we're saying. Not a lot happening.
Nothing happening?
Not a lot happening. Just dead, you know.
And milk.
Yeah, milkman's just been, and to be honest, we should be getting a bite right now, because last time he left, he had a bite. Time before that he left, Finn had a bite. He's just left again, which means we're gonna get a bite.
But nothing is happening.
It's really kicking off down here. Well, to be fair, if we was in disabled, that peg over there has got more bubbles than my jacuzzi.
Well, we're back. We've got one in the net. I've just landed, and Steve is playing one. And it looks like a bit of a pig. So I'm going to multitask here. This could be disastrous. Back of the net. Back of the net. Bosh! Gotcha! Yeah. Fist pump the camera.
Wow, I didn't say you know what? I could have almost not caught that fish because I was just about to put some spots out, but we did just say it looked good for a bite, and yeah, it's tanked off. Hopefully this is the thing of the start of things to come. Where did you come from? Where did you go? I have got a scaly sumo. Well, there it is, the notorious scaly split peck from B2. Bosh, yeah. Wow, a little flurry, and it's not really developed into anything. But yeah, we've got some more bait out there now, so hopefully we can have a few as the light hours or the lights drops out of the sky. But yeah, a nice scaly mirror bash.
You may think this is actually Coe's carp from Tar Farm Lakes, but I can confirm it's not. This is actually Coe's carp from B2. There's a very big difference, and that is this one is very lively and pissing me off.
What's going on? Because it's not, and I'll repeat, not happening.
Well, we got 3 bites, we got all excited. Oh, it's gonna kick off. Has it kicked off?
No.
Has it So yeah, I'm gonna redo the rods. I've already filled it in, but then I'm gonna fill it in a bit more and then catch 2 more carp before 10 o'clock tonight. People might be laughing. People laughed at big fill in the past, but it's gonna happen. 2 40-pounders before 10 o'clock. Do you know how you can land them quicker? If you just press this button on the top. Oh! This is some good footage. Oh! Catching that many fish this evening, we've decided, since this one's a unit, we're going to do it in the water.
Well, we are back. Well, we're back, and probably right on cue. I said, have one, cook some more food, which we did. Then we had another one, then had the food. Now I'm just playing another one.
Bosh, so yeah, just there. We have not 1, not 2, not 3. No, we do have 3 carp, sorry. This is number 4. I've just landed one. We've just heard the guys near us have a swan toner. So it could be the fish is switching on.
Can you just lift that the bank stick up so I can get this?
No.
Well, here's the first one of that little flurry. 29.5 pounds. Got a few more to get through, so yeah, we'll keep it quick, get a few stills of this one and get the others out and back into their watery home. Bosh!
25.5. 24.4. Last but no means least, 23.5.
23.5.
Yeah.
I thought it was about 23.
Yeah.
Bosh, come on.
Tonight has certainly been Steve's night. Yesterday I was able to have a bit of evening action, but yeah, tonight Steve has surely shown me how it's done. Like I say, this is the only one that I've been able to catch since the hours of darkness. I did actually drop one 15-20 minutes ago just to a hook pull, but shows there's fish back in the area, and I'm sure there's going to be a few more fish tonight. But I think this is bite number 38, I believe, between us. So surely one of them big ones won't be too far away.
Go on then, boy.
Go on.
First bite of the morning. Just started raining really. You can feel the pressure dropping, and just put the front on the bivvy because, you know, we got a bit wet. And yeah, right hander's tanked off, just as we were saying, surely it's going to happen. So yeah, don't think it's a big one, but it's coming in nice.
And it would be bite number 40.
Bosh!
Number
40.